Welcome back, guys, to another episode of D-Tron Does It. Of course, I am D-Tron, and I does stuff. And this week, I'm gonna get right into a project that I got. So this is my 1994 Buick Roadmaster estate wagon. And as you can see in all of its old glory, it has been sitting in my driveway for some time now. The reason it's been sitting in my driveway for some time is because I lost the keys to this car. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I threw them in the garbage. Pretty irresponsible of me, something I don't normally do, but I did it. So now, for the last few weeks, I have been attempting to find the right key to work for this car. I got the codes off of the car, so on and so forth. So long story short, the ignition in this car has got to come out and we got to put a new one in it. The technical part of what we're gonna do is coming up next.
What's the last one? D-Tron did this.
I like that one.
Okay.
So now that I've disconnected the battery, I'm gonna go ahead and take off this airbag using some T20 Torx bits. I believe it's 20, could be 30. I'm gonna check just to make sure. All right, so the airbag is now out. I'm gonna set it somewhere where there's no static so this thing doesn't accidentally go off. And then we're gonna start disassembling the steering wheel and getting that thing pulled off with our new steering wheel puller tool. All right, so after you get your airbag off, this is what you're left with. You got some wires, you've got this retainer bolt here. So we gotta use our steering wheel puller tool to remove this and get the steering wheel off of the column. All right, so I ran into a new snag. So this metal piece, every video or install that I've seen, this is never there. And I was trying to figure out, why is this metal piece still here on my steering column and not on everyone else's? Well, that's because the back of the steering wheel is broken. And so this piece snapped right off and it left us with, well, this. So now I gotta figure out, what do I do next? So this metal plate is what was stuck on there. So put a little WD-40 on there and went and got a 2-finger puller tool. So we're gonna try to use this to separate this metal plate from the steering column and then hopefully be able to get onto the pressure plate that we need to take off. All right, so this didn't work, which means I had to go run to the store and get a 3-jaw puller. It's a 2-ton puller. Hopefully this will help get the job done. And I'm gonna try to give it a little encouragement with our hammer here. So let's see what happens. Jeez! Finally, we got this thing off. That took some work. All right, now we're back in action. So now that I got that plate off the back, you can see down in there is a C-clamp. We're gonna need to remove that to be able to take this pressure plate off. So. I just removed this C-clamp that was holding on the lock plate. So then I took my lock plate remover tool off And now I can actually remove this lock plate and get into the inside where I need to start disassembling both my turn signal and my hazard button. That way I can get to the actual ignition switch. All right, so lock plate has been removed. We can take this piece off as well. And now we got to disassemble our turn signal and our hazard button down here. And it should give us some access to be able to remove these two plastic pieces with some retainer screws and then get to this cylinder back here. All right, so there were 3 retainer bolts, one up there, there was one back behind that silver bolt, and then one down here in the bottom. Now I have to remove that silver bolt, and then we should have access to our ignition switch. So now we're able to remove our ignition switch. And what I did was down here, I don't know if you can see it, but I tied some string and taped some string to the end of this ignition switch. That way we can pull it through. Then I'll tape that same string to the new ignition switch and try to feed it back down. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier to get it through this column, which there's not a whole lot of space in this column, to be honest with you. All right, so it is, we've got some positive things going on. So remember how I told you I strung or I tied the ignition switch, the ignition cylinder to the string? Well, we're now able to pull it through the opening here in the steering column. So we should be able to feed this out of the steering column. What I'm then gonna do is take my new ignition switch, tie it to the string, and pull that string back through. That way I can feed it right into where it's supposed to go. I taped up my new ignition switch. Now I'm gonna try to feed that ignition switch back down into the steering column, and then start the process of reversing everything that we've done. All right, so we have now used our string down there to pull this wire back through the steering column. So now we have to go in reverse from what we did to get this thing taken apart. I'm gonna put that shanked head back in there first, and then I'm gonna put this reminder switch back in. So I replaced that broken piece on the back of the steering wheel by using some JB Weld. It fits perfectly in place. Clamped it on, that way we can still utilize the same rings, because trying to find a new steering wheel was extremely difficult. So now we're going to install the steering wheel back on. All right, our steering wheel is now put back together. Steering column looks like that. Airbag is reinstalled. New ignition switch is in there, fit properly. So now all we gotta do is start it. All right, as you might be able to hear, this thing is a running now. So we got this thing all cranked up and it is running like a champ. As always, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notifications button, get some alerts, find out when we're dropping new videos, which is, I don't know, whatever. And if you decide not to like, share, or subscribe, you know what? I won't even be mad at you. Till next time, guys. Peace.